was flying on Korean Air, Boeing 747, 400 series, and Ed Dugella was on the airplane, and we were talking, and he said, I wonder if we could get into the cockpit and meet the pilots and check everything out. And I didn't have any attachment to it, so I said, well, why don't we ask? Worst they can do is say no. So we asked a flight attendant, and she went and asked the pilot, and they said yes. So we went to the front, and the captain asked me if I wanted to fly the plane, and I said, what? I said, yeah. So it was on automatic pilot, obviously, but I put on like the 5-point seat belt, and he showed me the little dial that runs the automatic pilot, which was quite small considering it controls the whole plane. And then the codes, he told me the codes for like emergencies or if you're being hijacked or whatever. And yeah, and then he said, okay, well, I'm going to take it off automatic pilot and you can fly the plane. So I did. It was the most amazing experience. It was very stiff and hard to make the plane go up or down or sideways to the left and to the right, but I did it. And poor Ed Dugella didn't get the opportunity to do it, but you know, he just wanted to go in there and see what it was like. So we said thank you very much, and I went back to my seat. And then I told the little Korean man and his wife, I said, hey, did you notice when the plane was going like up and down and then went left and right? And he goes, yeah. And I go, oh, that was me. I was flying the plane. They let me fly the plane. And he's like, what? My English isn't very good. Could you tell my wife what you just said? So I said, yeah, they let me fly the plane for like 2 minutes. And they had a look of terror on their face, which I didn't understand because I was just so elated. I thought it was so much fun, and you know, I didn't even care about going back there in the first place. So it was so amazing. And when I was in Hong Kong, I went out with these pilots that flew for Cathay Pacific, and I told them, I said, yeah, I flew a 747, and they're just like looking at me, and then I explained everything, and they said, oh yeah, it must be true. So those were the days when you were allowed to go into the cockpit, and of course you can't do that anymore. I can't even get near the thing. But Ed Dugella lives in Victoria. He's on the island, and there's a backstory to that whole thing. But I reached out to him on Facebook and said, hey, remember? And of course he remembers. But, what a trip. Amazing. I've got the tickets somewhere for that flight too, so I'll have to post that. This, of course, is not a 747. This was going to Costa Rica, and I do get a little bit air sick, so I got to sit in the front and be co-pilot for this trip. Haha. Anyways, amazing thing. One of the most beautiful things that happened to me in my lifetime.